Good morning, LBHT crew. Good morning, Rogue Nation. Listen, I am flying solo today. Hendo is still enjoying himself in New Orleans. So, um, yeah, man, have fun with that. Safe travels back when you come back. I don't know if he's coming back this week for the morning show. I think he gets back a little bit later during the week. So it'll probably just be me this week. Ferris might stop by. Who knows? We'll see. But today we have to be on time. We have to be on time. All right. I got some things to handle. But look, we're here. We're here. It's Monday. I hope you all had a happy Easter if you celebrate that, or if not, just a great weekend. Okay. Our weekend was pretty chill around here. The weather was nice, but now the weather is starting to go back down. This has been a weird year, man. It's been a weird year. You'll have an 80-degree day, and then the next day will be 50 degrees. But it is what it is. I'll take this over 20 degrees and 30 degrees. All right. Spring is creeping in there, and the summer is not that far away, which is probably one of my favorite times of the year. All right. But we're here. Who is here with me this morning? Corey Hunt is here. Says, can't wait. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend and Easter day. Salute to you, Corey. Good morning to you. We got Carmelo Moody. Says, Grand Rising. Grand Rising to you, Carmelo. Appreciate you. We got Michael Eggins in the house. Says, greetings, guys and family. He says, I like Grand Rising, Carmelo. That's tight. That's right. That's right. Dr. Kush, salute. Says, good morning, everyone. We got Rainmaker in the house. Good morning. Says, good morning, everybody. Last week. Oh, new week. I'm sorry. New week. Let's have a positive one. Facts. Facts. Who else we got in here? Just Aloe says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Just Aloe. Big Boy, good morning. Mohammed, good morning. DDSQ, good morning. OJ Stoical, wonderful morning, people. Noah, what's going on? Thanks for coming through. Good morning to you. We got Jay the Six in the house. Good morning, Jay. We got Dance Fan, good morning. RJ Trap, good morning. Reese, good morning. Noble Forever, good morning. Good morning. Kwame, salute. Salute to you. All right. So, a couple things I want to discuss. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is the calm before the storm. Okay. This week, I believe, will be relatively quiet. Not a whole lot going on. And then next week, it'll ramp up. With 2 weeks, this is a 6. So we are about 2 weeks away from the draft, give or take a few days. It is what it is. Good morning. But this week should be relatively quiet. If something happens, that'll be surprising to me. You'll hear some little whispers here and there. But next week, I believe you'll start to hear a couple of things, going on. A lot of misinformation. People like to throw a lot of misinformation out right now because you have teams targeting certain players in the first round and they don't want to tip their hand. So they'll say, not interested in this person. Like Jordan Tyson. There's talks about Jordan Tyson. Teams are being sour on him now because of his hamstring and all that stuff. He might fall. Jordan Tyson ain't falling. Don't fall for that. He's not going anywhere. Davon, salute. Good morning to you. Good morning. But you'll hear things like that. You'll hear more of that starting next week, and then of course the week of the draft. A couple days ahead of the draft, that's when you might see a trade. You'll definitely hear some rumors of who's targeting who, and who might be trying to move up the draft board. It'll really start to happen then. Hopefully, before then, the news I would like to hear before then is the Ravens signing Zay Flowers. Okay, I would like to have that done before the draft. I know there's no rush to get it done. He's still under contract. I think they picked up his 5th-year option. I'm not 100% certain, but I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that happen. Oh, look who's here. Are you coming up? Oh, wow. My brother B is here. He is here. Look at this.
What's going on?
He has risen, ladies and gentlemen. He's
Good
still.
morning.
Good morning. I was just talking about Zay Flowers and hopefully they get that contract done before the draft. That's just, it might be wishful thinking, but take care of some business. You know what I'm saying? Take care of some business.
You ain't calling anybody outside the building, so why not?
Yeah, I don't expect to see any any real moves happen this week. This is pretty. I call it the quiet, the calm before the storm. Things will start to pick up before then. Most teams have pretty much made the moves that they want to make before the draft. After the draft, they'll start. I think things will really pick up after the draft too. Start signing free agents again. That second wave of free agency, even some trades being made if teams didn't get what they wanted to get in the draft. So
yeah, for sure. I think they will get the Zay Flowers deal done sooner rather than later. Maybe not before the draft, but I think they want to get him signed, and I think he wants to stay in Baltimore. So I think that'll happen. It's more about what they're going to do everywhere else. And everywhere else being on the O line and the D line come draft day and like I said, that second wave or I guess third wave of free agency.
Yeah. So I have a couple things to bring up here. First is, all right, this is just real quick. All right, these are some official off-season workout schedule for the Ravens. Phase 1 officially kicks off Monday. Today. All right. Meetings, workouts, rehab, voluntary mini camp set for April 20th to the 22nd. OTA schedule is May 18th through the 19th, May 21st, May 26th to 28th, June 1st to the 2nd, and June 4th. And then mandatory mini camp runs from June 9th through the 11th. Now, they said we're the first to really start off these off-season activities. All right, today. I think everybody's starting later on this week. And the big question is, will Lamar be there for his new coach? Will he be there? I hate how Lamar is the only one that gets this question. Right? Doesn't Josh Allen have a new coach?
That he does.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is he going to be there? Do we know? Has anybody asked that question on mainstream media? Is he going to be there?
You're not real critical of what's going on in Buffalo altogether. Why'd you trade a second round pick for DJ Moore? DJ Moore's going to get cut.
He's going to get cut.
He was going to get cut, and they traded a second round pick for him. Absolutely.
The Bears were going to cut him?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, he's been declining for a couple of years, and he wasn't really fitting. And I think they were going to, they were ready to move on. And Buffalo was like, wait, don't throw that out. Here's a second round pick. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, send him over. Like, all right. My goodness.
Well, yeah, I guess that's just to make sure they don't have to compete with anybody once he got cut, Just like, hey, send him over here. We'll take on his contract.
What is this? The Hawk?
The Hawk TV. What's
I've
going on?
Since I've been we should pay Zay Flowers, draft a Ted McMillan later in the draft. What you mean draft Ted McMillan later in the draft? They ain't later in the draft.
Draft A.
I know. I'm saying like Ted McMillan was the top receiver taken. And went very high in the draft. You're not going to draft the Ted McMillan later, and your GM's not capable of drafting a Ted McMillan.
Yeah, if you want a Ted McMillan, you have to draft him early in the draft, like what's the receiver's name? Or higher.
You get Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate.
Carnell Tate.
There's a few good receivers in the draft, but like you ain't going to draft one later.
No. That's called getting lucky. We should get lucky. Yes, I agree. We should get lucky. Are there wide receivers that will be good enough later on in the draft? Sure. But are we going to be lucky enough to get one of those guys? Right. Because I mean, if we're being real, wide receivers, there's only a handful that you can look at and be like, money. Like he's legit. And even with those guys, sometimes they don't work out.
And more to the point, like Eric DeCosta is not good at picking them. He's just not.
No.
Particularly after the first round. Noah, as a question here, when's that fantasy draft happening in the Dynasty League? Well, about that, Noah, there's going to be some big changes in the Dynasty League. We're going to be contracting the Dynasty League and starting a new one, a separate league. So there's going to be 2 leagues. The one that's going right now is going to be going down to 16 teams, and then we're going to start another one as well. Those drafts will probably happen after the real draft.
Yeah. Stay tuned. For our Patreon members, we'll send some information out about that. All right. Ellis, salute. Good morning. Good morning, fellas. Let's get to it on this good Monday. Let's make it a great week. That's right. Neuro Sports, I see you. Says people are high on Chris Bell. Yep. There's Chris Bell, Chris Brazel. There's
Casey Concepcion, Ted Hurst, Bryce Lance. There's a lot of guys who have high potential. It's just a matter of picking the right one.
Yeah. Julian Otis, I see you in here. JR, salute. Good morning to all y'all that came in here. JT, I see you. Yes, a matter of picking the right one. Will we do that? And again, like we're going into a draft where EDC has to get a lot of these right. Obviously, he can't hit on every pick. Nobody hits on every pick, but I think B froze. That's right. He'll be back. That's a StreamYard thing. He has that same issue only in StreamYard, but that's all right. But Devin Janelle, good morning. Konnichiwa. Tracy is here. What's going on? Says hello, all. Rodney in the morning. Love it. Yes, he's not here right this second. His StreamYard froze, but he'll get that fixed in a second. But it comes in 2, so he'll come back up and then he'll probably drop off again. There it is. That's
all right.
I'm explaining to them so they're not shocked. You know, they're thinking you left. They're like, oh, we knew this was a sham.
I had enough.
Had enough. But no, I was saying this is a year that EDC has to hit on a lot of picks. Not just his picks, but like this whole offseason, he has to hit and get these things right. So, yes, I don't think he should go wide receiver in the first round per se. And yes, he can get a quality wide receiver later on in the draft. Hopefully he does, right? No matter what order he goes about things, offensive lineman, wide receiver, tight ends. He probably needs 2 tight ends, right? He has to. Coach says Hendo looks different.
Yeah,
what's going on, Coach?
Different, better, whatever you want to say there.
Yeah, but no matter what he does, it has to be right. He has 10 draft picks. My man's got to get at least 5 of those right if he keeps those draft picks. Otherwise, consolidate, move up, and then make sure you got 3 or 4 really good players that can like actually contribute to this team.
Yeah, so, I mean, honestly, there's no reason for them to keep all those picks. Take an offensive lineman of 14, package some of those later picks, move up in the second round, take another offensive lineman in the second round, and then you can do whatever you want after that. We did get a super chat from JR. Thank you very much. I remember when people was mad we drafted Zay. Turns out to be a good pick. JSN and Zay is shaping up to be the best receivers from their draft class. Yeah.
I think a lot of Ravens fans were mad. I want to say the majority. There's a certain section of this fan base that has been indoctrinated and has, sipped the Kool-Aid and believe that, you don't invest in wide receivers, you don't invest in the offense, and Zay Flowers is in a 6'5", big body 50-50 guy, so he's not worth it. Like, you have people that buy into that narrative. And if you watch this show, you'll always hear us say size is not a skill, right? You get players that can play. I don't care how tall they are, right? If there he goes. He'll be back in a second. But if they are good, the size part doesn't matter. We've had tall players here before. We've had Miles Boykin here before. Go back further than that. We've had we've had other tall receivers that have not worked out. So don't worry about the size part of it. Get guys that can make plays for your team. And Zay Flowers absolutely has worked out, which is why we have to pay him. And I like that comparison you made, JR, to JSN, because he came in the same time JSN. JSN just got his money, and Zay Flowers is looking for something similar. And I know people are gonna look at it. Yep, Tommy Streeter. We've had him here. I know people are gonna look at it and say, look, he didn't put up those same numbers that Jackson Smith and Jigba put up, so he shouldn't get that money. You've already seen in real time this experiment, right, with Tyler Linderbaum. Don't go through it again, right? Me and B have lived this for decades here. Okay, we've seen this over. This isn't an EDC thing. This is an organization thing where we always get it wrong, right? Don't try to compare what you have to other people that you don't have. Okay. Right. He says he wants what Jackson Smith is making, right? He can make that comparison because he'll be the free agent. You need to say, okay, here's the money. Because if you say no now, it'll be $10 million more next year. Right. If he holds up, and we think Zay Flowers is going to play well this year. I don't think anybody would argue that.
Or if you say no now, you'll pay a little bit less and get a much worse player. Like you did with John Simpson.
Yes. Yeah. Right. So. Exactly. Little Legend, what's going on? It says breakfast break hot take. Yes.
Talent costs.
Yeah, it costs. Yeah, absolutely. You got to pay for it. All right. The other quick thing, we're gonna move fast today. We're gonna move fast. I saw this out here. I wanted to ask people how they felt about the look of this. Right. This is all from Sleeper Ravens account. It says Ravens potential starting defense. This is early, but this is what it could shape up to be. All right. Our tackles, we got Travis Jones and Nnamdi Madubuike. Our edge rushers, you got Trey Hendrickson, Mike Green. Our linebackers, Roquan Smith and Simpson or Teddy Buchanan. Safeties, Kyle Hamilton, Jalen Hawkins, Malachi Starks. And then the cornerbacks, Nate Wiggins and Awuzie and or Humphrey. How do y'all feel about that? Does that look like
being real disrespectful to Marlon Humphrey with the slash Awuzie there? But look, they should be a very good defense, and they should have been that regardless, right? Yeah. I think they would have been that without signing Trey Hendrickson. I think they were going to be much improved. That's fine. I think that they are going to be lacking right now as it stands. They're lacking depth on the D line. They're lacking depth at edge, and they're lacking depth at linebacker. And depending on how it goes, they might be lacking at starter at linebacker. I mean, Buchanan looked all right last year, but we'll see how he kind of develops. But the front seven is going to be the question mark for the defense. The secondary should be great.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, really, the only thing we need to work on there. I put it up there because we keep talking about needs. It's always we need this on defense. We need that on defense. But when you look at what we have out there already, it's not a lot of needs, right? Like now, Nnamdi is a big question mark. Yeah, and that would definitely be a need if he's not. I would say get a D tackle anyway because I don't rely on that. But outside of that, there are no other needs. And even if you took Trey Hendrickson off there, I wouldn't look at that and say we need an edge. We absolutely have to have an edge rusher. We just drafted Mike Green. Get another solid guy, and we should be okay there, right? Draft for depth. You don't need to draft those players high. That's where you get younger players that you can develop. That's where you go and get some veterans be out there the second wave of free agency. You do it that way and invest your high picks and your money on the offense. All right. Yes, Noah. O-line, wide receiver, D tackle. Yeah. God's favorite, what's going on? Says we're lacking depth on defense, but we're lacking starters on O-line, on offense. Yeah. That's the thing. Like the defense, I mean, like I said, before we try to trade for Max Crosby and sign Trey Henderson, I was looking at it thinking defense is going to turn up this year. You know, they're going to make the moves that they need to make, and they'll get the right players in there, and we're going to turn up. The question has always been about whether or not, one, are they going to fix the O-line, and two, are they actually going to try to get Lamar Jackson weapons? And they haven't done any of those things to date.
Yeah.
Jesse Minter himself has said, hey, look, man, it's March. You know, the season doesn't start in March. We still have a lot of moves to make. So, and he's right about that. So he could, you know, they could absolutely get everything they need going into the start of the next season to be good on both sides of the ball. So
yeah, he's talking about getting lucky too. Because from this point forward, like there's not a whole lot available in terms of veterans of known quantities. So you're talking about getting lucky in the draft, which is unfortunate because they could have taken care of all their needs and chose not to.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Right. At O-line, it is going to take some luck, right? Even if we get if we got Adam Shanks, good morning. Appreciate you coming through. Even if we get, let's say we get Vega. Let's say we get Vega and Spencer Fano, right? Let's say like we do what like B says is we draft one guy and then we trade back up into the first round. We get two of those guys, right? We feel good, right? And we say Fano's going to play center. All right, there's still a risk there because Fano's never played center before. Oh, you look out. Oh, you just seen this hoodie? The Fells Point Mafia hoodie? Yes, it's on the store, LBHTShow.com. All right, go and get you one. Yes. I was given a scenario where we drafted Vega and then traded back into the first round and drafted Spencer Fano, right? I would feel good, right? I was like, oh man, that's what's up. And we're gonna do like what like people have been suggesting. Let's move Fano to center. I'm like, oh, okay. But these are two rookies.
Yeah.
These are two rookies at the end of the day. And while they're first round players that have been scouted well, right? And have a good scouting report for the most part on them. You know, that's not really how you plan to compete the upcoming year by having, you know, having rookies take over on, you know, as starters on your O-line, bring in another guy who just isn't good, John Simpson. Like we can't say anything good about John Simpson. He hasn't been good for a while. Like when he was here, we're like, okay, you know, and then, you know, he was just bad, you know.
Yeah.
But like we've never looked at John Simpson like, oh yeah, he did good here, he did good there, or anything like that. So that's not a great plan, but it could work. It could work. I would just like to see them put a little bit more effort when it comes to that. On defense, we don't take risks. We have to be sure about that. Like honestly, I won't be surprised if we got another edge rusher and we just like, oh, Mike Green gonna have to compete, right? I don't think the plan is to start Mike Green.
Well, I mean, I get, you know, not wanting that to be the plan off of the season that he had, but you know, you drafted him in the second round. You didn't attack that position in free agency, and you should not be drafting anybody high to compete with him. You know, later this month. You know, they used to be a team that would sign players to put themselves in position to draft the best player available. They would fill their holes in free agency, and under Eric DeCosta, they just have not done that. Which is why we always talk about them making bad picks, you know, good player, bad pick, because they just ignore their needs in free agency, and then they go into the draft and ignore their needs again, and then you roll into September, and you know it looks good because Lamar's playing, and you know typically the defense is pretty good, and then you get to the end of the season, you get to the playoffs, and you start playing the best teams in the league, and you're like, wait a minute, Tylan Wallace isn't getting it done.
Yeah, right.
I can't believe it.
Right. Just Alan says, if it's so early, Jesse, then why are people asking Lamar to come to some dumb mini camp? How about that? How about that? If it's so early, yeah, it's a mini camp. It's a voluntary camp. My thing is this: we all know by now that Lamar Jackson puts in serious work in the offseason. Like we see him working out all the time. You see him working out with his wide receivers, with other wide receivers. Hey, I even saw a video of Mark Andrews working out with his fiance the other day. Mark Andrews doing what he needs to do to get in shape. Listen, I have my criticisms of Mark Andrews, but he takes it seriously though. You know what I mean? Like we know he's not slacking. Those are players that I don't worry about in terms of their preparation for the season. They don't need to show up to voluntary workouts, right?
Yeah.
Like you want him, you want to start getting some installments on the plays right now. I understand that if it's a new coach, but
That's just maybe to learn the offense.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Like maybe
they ain't learning the offense in 3 days.
they're not, but you want to get a head start on that. That's fine.
He's going to learn the offense.
Yes.
When they give him his playbook and he's studying it on his own, and when he gets to training camp.
So that's what I was gonna say, right? Like, what if he comes in today and meets with them, gets the playbook, and then they just start talking about it? Because like he's not running the offense right now in the voluntary workouts. You know what I mean? Like they're not doing that there. And you don't know who's all gonna show up there, and it's not gonna be all the starters. So yeah, like yes, give him the playbook now so he can start learning it and they can start discussing it and going over things, watching tape and all that stuff. I'm sure that's what's going to happen. Is the difference in the season going to be whether or not he showed up to OTAs or not? No. It's not, right? Like you do that with Kyler Murray, where you're just like, bro, we don't have enough time on the calendar to get this man right. You need to be there for every moment that's available to us. Any moment that we're allowed through the CBA to work with you, you need to show up for that. Though you do that for those players, right? You don't need to do that for Lamar Jackson. You don't need to do it for Pat Mahomes, right? There's certain players, they're gonna be ready, right? Yeah. I don't know about
having to get on the same page. Yeah, I mean, they can get on the same page. Come this summer when they're actually practicing every day and working towards getting ready for the season, and they're playing preseason games. Like, and this is not directed at you, Coach. I'm so tired of people asking Lamar to do extra when you're not even asking his GM to do the bare minimum. John Simpson.
Well, that's what we've actually said it before. Like, why does Lamar come into the season every year improved better than he was the year before? But we don't ask that from the front office. We don't ask that from the coaches.
Like, right? I'm not even asking them to improve. Like, as far as Eric DeCosta, just do your job. Like, you want to tell Lamar to come in early to voluntary camps, but you can't tell that man to sign some starting offensive linemen.
Right.
No, I don't. Right. I wouldn't want to hear that at all. Like, if I'm Lamar, I'm not coming in here until the second that I'm required. You're not going to see me.
But I brought this back up just to say, like, today is the start of our offseason activities, and I believe he will be here for at least some of the stuff. Does he need to show up to all these things? No, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the building today to talk to these coaches. Voluntary mini camps, right? Maybe he shows up to that. OTAs is from May 18th through June 4th, right? Multiple times throughout that. I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up to a couple of those. Does he need to be at all of these? I don't think so, right? But and then mandatory mini camp is in June. But my point is, he'll be in a building. He'll be working out with them before the summer, right? I think he. I mean, I don't even know why this is a question at this point about Lamar's work ethic and his dedication to the team. I mean, he shows it. He's shown it. The question marks is around everybody else, right? Not the players. I'm talking about the coaching, the GM, right? The president, like that's the owner. That's where the question mark lies. Are y'all going to do what you need to do because you haven't been doing it? You know,
Kwame says, "Is it a bad look if Lamar isn't here this week?" No. It'll be a talking point in the media because people love talking about Lamar Jackson. People react to Lamar Jackson stories more than anybody else, but it is not a bad look if he's not there. Doesn't mean anything if he's not there.
right? Yeah, and we don't talk about this for anybody else. This isn't a talking point for anybody else. At least not in national media. Maybe local media. You'll have some, you'll have people like, hey, you need to be, we need our quarterback here, right? And I get that, but mainstream media, that's a talking point there. You know what that is. They are, from my understanding, they can't have live practices yet. Yeah, not until I think mini camp or training camp. I'm not sure when they can actually have live practices. Did you not see my meeting on the graphic? Jose, put it up. Wait.
I don't know who Coach responded to that.
Oh, wait. Meeting. Yeah. No, he's saying. Okay,
I think he's talking with Just Allo, I think.
Hold on. This is it right here. So phase 1 starts today. It's meetings, workouts, rehab. That's all that's going on today. It's not practice. It's just meetings, workouts, rehab. But that's what you do in the meetings, right? You can start going over the playbook there. And then voluntary mini camp is April 20th through the 22nd. So that's right before the draft, right? Because I think the draft is the 23rd, I believe.
Yeah. You know what I'd like for this offseason? I'd like Lamar to get acquainted with his new wide receiver. But you got to get one first.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing too, right? That's the other thing too.
I think he's good with Zay and Rashad in them.
What, like it's not just about Lamar and learning a new offense. What about the wide receivers? What about the O-line? Do we have the O-line that he's actually going to be playing with on the roster yet?
Hope not.
Really, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Baltimore Barry 410, what's going on, says we are expecting a lot from some rookies day one because our GM bad moves. All right, look, I don't like the way.
Barry, where are you from? I'll trust people in Baltimore today.
I see what you did there. See, like, but yeah, I hear you. If somehow we were to get two like highly rated prospects, I feel a little bit better. But you're right. Like, they're rookies at the end of the day, and there's got to be a learning curve there. But if it's somebody like Vega and Fano, or Vega and Pregnon, something like a combination of those two, I would feel better because I know that they're just better than the talent that we have right now, right? Yeah. And you can mix Emory Jones in there if he stays healthy. I would feel better. Like, young, yes, but better than what we had. Right. That's a step. And then, of course, moving forward, I expect them to be beasts. But, this year you are kind of saying, hey, hopefully these guys work out. And there is a question mark there because these are prospects. These aren't proven players. So, it is a risk. And I don't think that's a good plan to have in a year where you have to, I'm not saying you have to win a Super Bowl, but you have to really show something. And of course, wide receivers, coach said, he doesn't trust Bateman this year. Of course you wouldn't trust Bateman. Why would you trust Bateman? He looked terrible. Yeah. And I don't like these excuses about not having opportunities. I hate this excuse about not having enough opportunities, right? God's favorite, we were arguing last week about, DeAndre Hopkins and whether he was just as good as Devontae Adams. And look, you made your case. I hear you, right? But that opportunity thing, we banned that word at one point here because that's the same argument we made for. Cover your ears, coach. James Prochet.
Yeah, well,
Right?
the question that I'll ask, and you know, I always know what the answer is from Baltimore fans. Oh, so well, it's the coaches. What prevented DeAndre Hopkins from having those opportunities? What prevented him from having them in Baltimore? What prevented him from having those opportunities in Kansas City?
Oh,
What prevented him from having those opportunities in Tennessee?
don't
Devontae has those opportunities because Devontae is still one of the best wide receivers in the league.
yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I agree. I agree. He should have gotten more targets last year. He could have helped out a lot more than he did. I agree with that. But I mean, like it's a stretch to say he's Devontae Adams, right?
Yeah.
Like he didn't that wasn't a Baltimore thing. Like he didn't get those targets in Kansas City either. He didn't get those targets in Tennessee either.
You know,
Right?
the problem with the
Well, he did
opportunity.
get them in Tennessee, but yeah.
Yeah, to an extent. But the problem with the opportunity argument is you can use that to make anybody a great player. I could sit here and tell you that Jimmy Horn's the best wide receiver in the league. He just didn't get the opportunity. And you can't argue it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, hey, he didn't get the targets. And who knows why he didn't get the targets? Can't be that he's not good enough. Can't be that he didn't earn it. You know, he just didn't get them for whatever reason. And I can tell you, hey, you know what? If you throw him the ball, Jimmy may play. If you don't throw in the ball, then you know.
Good morning, Attitude Pop. Let's chill with the language so early, bro.
Wow.
Like it's not even 7:00 yet. It's not even 7:00 yet. Are the Lakers effed Jose and Brodney? Because if Reeves and Luka are out all the first round, all this work and having the third seed was just a waste of time, they're in trouble.
I mean, I don't know what you call it a waste of time. I mean, guys get hurt. Luka's getting a second opinion. He's going, well, not a second opinion. He's going over to Europe to get treatment to try and be back before the playoffs start. So we'll see. Austin Reeves has not been a playoff performer early in his career. So we'll see on you know, when he gets back and what exactly he brings. But no, it's certainly not ideal. To lose your top two scorers right before the playoffs. Not great.
No, yeah.
They got
I agree.
They got 30, 15, and 9 from LeBron last night and got beat. So not good, Bob.
Julian says D-Hop was underused regardless of corners in his face. That man is a proven commodity. What was Bateman's excuse? I agree. He was underused, but he wasn't underused to a point where we should be saying we don't need to trade for, Adams or AJ Brown or something like that. Like no, he was underused, meaning like he could have contributed a little bit more. You know,
yeah, he could
more than Bateman for sure.
But here's the thing: Bateman was much better the prior season than DeAndre Hopkins has been in the last couple of years. And also, I'll say this: DeAndre Hopkins don't play for y'all. So that tells you what the Baltimore Ravens think about DeAndre Hopkins right there. Like he's out in public essentially begging to get signed.
Well, not just the Ravens, the league.
Well, yeah, no, the league, but I'm saying specifically Baltimore, who has a wide receiver problem. Kansas City had a wide receiver problem and didn't bring him back. But I mean, Tennessee has an everything problem. You don't want to go back to Tennessee. I'm not but like, you know, he's not employed by either one of those teams. Yeah. Right. So I mean, maybe he's just not the guy that y'all think he is still.
Yeah. I think he's, like I said, he's still a contributor for sure. I wouldn't mind having him back, but it can't be just that. Adam says, I trust the process, fellas. First year without John Harbums. I want to see Jesse Minter can do. We have to remember this is new. We have to not think the past is going into the future. Adam, listen, me and B have seen this play for a long time. Okay. I do not trust the process. I do not trust EDC. I don't trust Steve Bisciotti. Jesse Minter looks like a promising young coach. I feel good. Listen, I feel good about Jesse Minter. Now, I know not all the fan base likes that move. I feel good about him. It's just a feeling though. I don't feel good about the moves being made by EDC so far. I think he's going about it wrong, but still hopeful. I'm still very hopeful, right? But trust, no, he has not. I mean, he's been the GM for 8 years. He has not earned my trust.
Yeah, because it's not new. The Eric DeCosta show is not new, and particularly with the offensive line. We've seen how he gets down on the offensive line, and it's Lamar running for his life. So
yeah. There's God's favorite. It says, yeah, D-Hop got his opportunities in Tennessee, and he got double-digit TDs there. I don't think he did.
But that can't be your end-all, be-all, guy.
We're gonna do a quick fact check. Did he get 10 touchdowns there?
He might have. I mean, look, he was all they had.
He got no. And what did he get there? He was with Arizona and Tennessee in 2022. No. I'm sorry. In 2023, he was with Tennessee. He had 7 touchdowns. Yeah. I'm about to say last time he had double-digit touchdowns was
back in 2018.
2018. So no, he didn't have double. You're right though. He had 137 targets. Look, I mean, solid. Listen, I would say this is really good for Tennessee, right? 137 targets, 75 catches, 1,057 yards, 7 touchdowns. I would say that's really good for that team.
But you know what? He's also he had one of the lowest catch percentages of his career in Tennessee. Also, it's Tennessee. They didn't have anybody else to throw the ball to. They threw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins 137 times his first year there. He caught 75 of them.
Yeah.
Now, again, not saying that he was washed up, but he wasn't the DeAndre Hopkins of old.
Yeah. But listen, I would still love to have him on a team. It just can't end with that, though. That's all I'm saying. All right. We're going to get out of here in a minute, but I want to tease how the rest of this week is going to go. Okay. We still got to talk about the you meant in Houston? Houston was a long time ago, brother. That was a long time ago.
Right. Again, you're talking about 2018.
And we're not, in God's favor, we're not. I mean, that's a small argument we're making here. It seems like a big argument. It's a small argument because we both want DeAndre Hopkins back. Don't get me wrong when I'm making this argument.
I don't want DeAndre Hopkins back. Not for Baltimore. For what? Like because again, this is what always happens in Baltimore.
I'm not saying stop there.
No. But that's my thing. Like, always happens in Baltimore with Ravens fans. It's like, oh man, yeah, bring this guy back. Instead of go do better. Like you shouldn't be talking about DeAndre Hopkins at this point. Go do better than DeAndre Hopkins. Go get better players than DeAndre Hopkins. And if everything else falls through, then maybe you can re-sign him. But DeAndre Hopkins shouldn't be a thought at this point.
If we go out and make a trade for AJ Brown, I still want DeAndre Hopkins on the team. We could phase out Bateman at this point. I don't believe in Bateman. Bateman will have to change my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Hopkins can play that Bateman role, and we have a young receiver that we can develop, and hopefully he
but I don't think he can because Bateman was the number 2 receiver, right? Yeah. So no, I don't want DeAndre Hopkins to be the number 2 receiver. Go get somebody else.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying though. That's what I'm saying. If we trade for AJ Brown, hypothetically, we trade for AJ Brown. Mm-hmm. AJ Brown's the one. Zay Flowers is 1A, 1B, whatever, right? Those are your 2 wide receivers. Your 1 and 2 wide receivers there. Hopkins could be a 3. Tess Walker could be a 4, developing into a 3, something like that. Like, I feel more comfortable with that than Rashad Bateman. Now, Rashad Bateman said, hey, don't look at last year. I'm better than that. And maybe you are, man. But I don't believe it.
Yeah, you know what I'd feel more comfortable with? I'd feel more comfortable trading for AJ Brown, and then in the 3rd round going and drafting another wide receiver.
I feel good about that too.
And not worrying about DeAndre Hopkins at all.
Okay, all right. I'm not mad at that either.
Because the other question is, you can go back and forth on how much he has left right now. The question is, when does that go away?
Yeah. Adam says, what if it's the strategy for the whole league to think we are low radar? Fellas, I get what y'all saying, and I want D-Hop back if he wants to come back. That's an excuse that we've been using for a long time. Oh, we're just floating under the radar. We're floating under the radar. Everything that you're saying, Adam, is something that they've been trying to use since they won their first Super Bowl back in 2001. right?
Yeah.
Or
And
2002.
and I hate to break it to you, you are not under the radar with Lamar Jackson, the quarterback.
Yeah.
They've been one of the winningest teams in the NFL since he took over the starting job. You are not under the radar by any means.
And why do you want to do that? I don't want to be an underdog. Like, I want to be the big dog, right? I want everybody to know we are the team to beat, and there's nothing you can do about it because we're that nice. You know what I'm saying? Like that's been Kansas City for the last 7 years, right? 7 out of the 8 years, where it's like the road goes through Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl. Beat us if you can. You can't beat us, right? Like I want to be that. Okay, I don't want to do this under the radar, this underdog thing. No, hell no. We're too good for that. Well, we should be too good for that. All right, we get out of here, but I want to put this on your mind for the rest of the week. Okay, March Madness is wrapping up. Congratulations to UCLA women's team for winning their first ever national title. There was some drama along the way, though, not with UCLA, with South Carolina and UConn. Gino Auriemma, out there just still being a sore loser. All right, so we're going to talk about that. Also, this is a college sports type thing we're going to talk about. We'll talk about it more on the LBHT show as well. But there's an interesting conversation between John Calipari and Jay Billis about players getting paid, and the still the controversy around that. And I clipped the video. I'm gonna clip it down. It's a long segment that they had. I can't play the whole thing, so I'll clip it down and play a little bit of it, and we'll discuss that and why Jay Billis, who's been right about this for years, he's been on the right side of this, and why John Calipari and company are still getting it wrong. And it's not by mistake. It's not ignorance. It's that's just the system. That's the mentality of not paying players. So we're going to discuss that. Also, we didn't get to it today, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. Puka Nacua, following up on his story, he's in rehab.
Yeah.
He's in rehab. So that's just a little teaser of what we're going to discuss later this week, but we have to get out of here. Over 100 people in here. Hit that like button if you're new in here. Hit that subscribe button. We'll be back tomorrow. Y'all have a great day. Oh, what do you want to say, B?
Oh, I was going to point because God favors talk about DeAndre being the number 2. He was not the number 2. He had a couple more targets than Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman missed 4 games last year, and Rashad Bateman played a couple hundred more snaps than DeAndre. DeAndre was not ever the number 2 wide receiver of Baltimore. You just didn't have a good number 2, so he outproduced him.
Yeah,
and with him missing those 4 games, but he was not the number 2 receiver.
And that even if he was, that it's just not good enough.
No,
it's just not good enough. He can't be the number 2. Like I won't mind. I don't mind. I don't agree. Like I wouldn't mind having him back. He can't be back to be the number 2 guy. That's all I'm saying. He can't come back to be the number 2 guy. So, that's what God's favorite was saying. That's what he's saying. He said.
No. But you say he was the number 2. He wasn't the number 2. You just had a weak number 2. That's all.
Julian Otis brings up Tyreek Hill coming off of a terrible knee injury. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I agree with Julian. I don't know. Kick the tires. You know what I'm saying?
Tyreek going right back to Kansas City.
All right, y'all. We getting out of here. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you later.